Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome again to another episode of Talk Architecture with your host, Naziati Muhammad Yaakob. I am continuing the series on loving yourself unconditionally for the architect and other building professionals. So, when we talk about this loving yourself unconditionally, we are referring to, and I would like to refer to Don Miguel Ruiz, Four Agreements. That is his book. He wrote it. And there are 4 agreements in there. And the first one is be impeccable with your word, which he says the most difficult to do. And just a bit of context, a bit of understanding what this book is all about. When you live your life, you learn things when you were younger, and then people gave an opinion about you, and it could be your parent. And if someone, maybe your parent, maybe somebody says you are stupid, and that is their opinion, and that you actually think that you are stupid because you somehow agree. That's why there's this word agreement. So that's why Don Miguel Ruiz says that this agreement of accepting the opinion of others upon you, that is something which could be changed in life. So what is it to the architect is that the everyday things that we do and deal with other people in our work, obviously people would give their opinion about things that you do, and some of them are fair sort of comment, but some of them are not fair, or some of them is triggering or not making sense. Now, of course, this is in work-life balance issues that we have out there with regard to trying to, just go through the everyday purposefully, peacefully, and the ability to do your work and get things done and resolved day to day. And you wanting some success as well. In fact, that could be your goal in life, to have success in your work. And that is good. That is something that is winning, gaining something, knowledge or other things that you wish. So, but then you come across all these hurdles and challenges, and what does be impeccable with your word means? In my understanding, impeccable means being flawless, being almost perfect, or being precise and articulate. And it's something that in architecture practice, we do that. And because in architecture school, that is what is required from us, from our tutors. And it is a practice that we do, a belief in a way, part of your belief system. That's why architects are different than other professions, or the way that they present themselves. And there are many approaches. So we know that aesthetics is important in architecture, and some of us project ourselves as articulate people. And so in architecture practice, being impeccable, or in being an architect, being impeccable is a common thing that we adhere to. What does it mean, being impeccable with your word? So not only being impeccable with how we dress or how we present, also our intention as well. The intention comes from the clarity that is inside of you to mean what you say. So if your intention is clear, that you want to convey what you mean, then obviously the job is done. In communicating, you've done your best, As always, that's the other agreement that Don Miguel Ruiz mentioned as well. Always do your best. They're all interchangeable, or they're all interconnected. the agreements that Ruiz mentioned. But I'm focusing on be impeccable with your word. So in this context or situation of communication or communicating to other people in the job situation, things like gossip or having mischievous words or words that are in jest or actually have double meanings are not helping with the communication and can be misconstrued differently, or misunderstandings can come out of those words that are not clear in its intention. So less of that is better. In fact, gossip, in the words of Ruiz, he mentioned the gossip is actually poison. And if is poison, like sugar, for example, to me, sugar is poison and it's the only way to diet. But if gossip is poison, then you are misinforming people. It's a misinformation. And there could be a liability in that. And although it's not a liability that end up in the court of law, it could be a liability in your position in the office, or your how you are judged or how you are evaluated somewhat, And so being impeccable with your word is a very good agreement, which helps you to achieve what you want. And to be loving yourself unconditionally, you need to be clear with what your intention is. A clear intent, even in architectural design, what is your intention? What is your design intent, for example? Which, if it's clear, then for the client or for those who are listening to you, they could buy into that, what you have said. So being careful, being articulate, or being impeccable with the things that you say, because these three things, read, write, and speak. Okay, when you say being impeccable with your word, you think about the spoken word. You think about what words you choose and to communicate with other people. And I think it's closely linked to read and write as well, because you're used to using those words. Those words convey the person, words that you use. There are body language where people use, people, you can read people with body language. People don't say much, but from their body language you can guess. But then Don Miguel Ruiz also mentioned about don't take things personally, okay, and don't make assumptions. So it's not easy to read the body language. I mean, you need to be quite precise in actually reading the body language. But when somebody actually explains something or using words, it is more clearer, the intent from that person. So words are also something that give meaning to the intention and action of that person. Yeah, you get what I mean in the sense that why your word is important. And in the context of the architectural practice or office, working with people, working with the client and contractors and consultants, and also as an architecture student, presenting your work, be more intuitive, be more off the cuff, be more resonating with how you think, read, write together. You speak the same thing as you think. You write down your thoughts, or you write down what you feel about something. That would help a lot in conveying and communicating rightly. So, I mean, we could be better at English language. So, excuse me for that. We could be better at that and have the habit of looking up definitions or synonyms of the word impeccable, for example, to understand what impeccable means. And that's why I use the other words like being precise. I mean, in architecture, to do with measure, to do with order and form, proportion, order, and forming from that based on a sense of proportion. So what I'm trying to say is that that is a measure of an aesthetic order, or trying to get something to look good, right? So, and that you got to be precise as an architect to come up with a design that has that sensibilities and weighing out things and making decisions. So impeccable is something that the architect knows about quite well, even when they were architecture students until they become an architect. Those demands of having your own principles or style or approach or signature design, is something of a selling point, a marketing tool for you to get more clients. So the sense of the architect being impeccable is always there. But impeccable, what I'd like to remind is that impeccable means also your word. And the whole thing is not only form, but substance or content. So, yeah, that is what I'm trying to push this first agreement to the architectural profession and those associated with the architectural profession. I'm trying to give an added perception of how we could perceive ourselves as architects and designers, and being in the industry and working together. Much could be done well if we communicate better and using the right words, and more so with some integrity to those words. So I'd like to stop there, and this is just one part of the discussion on the four agreements and towards loving yourself conditionally for the architect. Have a good day.